What's up YouTube, this is Hypertonus. I am bringing you my review of my new Sauer MCX Virtus. Not a whole lot has changed since the original MCX, but they have upgraded some things, and I've also done a few personal upgrades myself. The original MCX is such a popular rifle that they decided to, I guess, do some upgrades to it, but those upgrades are more for military purpose. SIG claims that this firearm can go 20,000 rounds without a single part change, which that's a pretty bold statement. And when we get into the breakdown of the firearm, we'll go into more some of the details of that. But we're out here right now zeroing in the rifle. On top of this, I have a Romeo 4S from SIG. The reviews I've seen on this are phenomenal. It's a solar powered red dot, so it's got a claim of about 100,000 plus battery life. It comes with a quick detachable, but some of the upgrades that I have done to this rifle, I'll get into more of detail. For this rifle does not come with any backup sights, but I had put on some Magpul M-Bus Pro sights. We're gonna go and zero this rifle in, and we'll get back to you. And while we're trying to zero this rifle, we'll see if we can get a good idea on what the accuracy is at 100 yards. All right. I've made the, I believe, necessary adjustments to see if this thing will be hitting point of impact. So let's go and see how it shoots. Alright, so downrange and take a look. We now have the rifle zeroed. I ended up throwing on my Vortex VMX or VMT ×3 magnifier to help with this. This right here is the last 3-shot group, so it's pretty much zeroed for me to be happy with. We're gonna head back to the bench, tear it down, and go through the specs of the rifle. Alright, now that we got the rifle zeroed, I believe the gun is capable of at least MOA accuracy. Like I said, I'm going to need to get a actual variable optic to do that, but we're going to go ahead and break down the weapon. As you can see, the magazine is empty and the chamber is empty. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and release the send the bolt home. Now this rifle breaks down like any other AR-15. Misconception is this is not an actual AR-15 rifle. It is based off the AR platform, but is not an AR-15. Because your standard AR-15 has your standard buffle tube, and when we break it down, you'll see the recoil system, how SIG designed it. As you can see, though, the stock folds to the side, and it locks in there pretty positively. Like, it does not rattle. Maybe if you need it deployed, you can quickly do so. Break it down, just like any other rifle. Push out your pin. Now the thing with this is, there's a wedge in here that makes this pin very, very tight. Pick it apart like that. And then as you can see, you can pull it out, your bolt carrier assembly and your charging handle just like any other AR-15. As you can see though, there's a few differences from the difference of the rifle. Now we'll continue to go and break down the rest of the rifle. We'll separate the two receivers. And then we'll even go a step further and pull off the handguard. And this right here is your completely field stripped rifle. Barrel's a little hot, but it's not too bad. The difference between your standard AR-15 is your recoil spring is the back of the buffer tube, but the MCX does not have that. As you can see, it runs on a dual recoil system. Right here is your piston operation, or your op rod, and right here is your actual piston. There are two settings on this, one for suppressed and unsuppressed. And unlike the original MCX, this is actually a heavier gun on the fact that they actually went with a heavy contour barrel versus a medium. So the gun is about a pound heavier. But as you can see, I've already done some changes to this firearm. One of the major differences, I decided to opt for the 12-inch handguard versus the 15. The 15 would go all the way out here. To me, that was too much weight in the front, so I decided to opt for the 12-inch, which definitely lightened up the forend. It's still a heavy gun, but honestly, it's now more manageable. I prefer lighter rifles, but I like the modularity of this firearm, and we'll show you a little bit on some of the stuff that they did to make it modular. And the cool thing is, parts serviceable. One of the first things they did from the original MCX is they upgraded the trigger. It's their Matchlight dual trigger. It's based off AR-15, but it's not the exact same. I can tell you now that this trigger breaks very cleanly. It breaks at 4.5 pounds, and the reset is impeccable. The only other trigger I would possibly put in this would be a Geisley, but honestly, I don't think you'd have to. The other thing I had decided to swap out, I personally like running Magpul bad levers on my rifles. However, a standard Magpul bad lever will not work on this particular firearm. So what I actually bought was a Phase 5 extended bolt release, which is basically Magpul bad lever, but it's a one solid piece. And honestly, I have not had any problems with this mag release at all. If I was a left-handed shooter though, I will say this. The only thing that has a problem with this bad lever is the SIG MCX has a ambi, everything on this rifle is ambi safety, ambi mag release. The thing with the mag release is if you run an extended bad lever, you cannot run, if you're left-handed, you cannot, I would not recommend running an extended bolt release because you cannot operate your mag release. However, if you're running just the standard mag release, you can operate, you can hold your bolt back because they have an extended back here. I believe it's a maritime bolt release. You can actually just operate everything. I would basically leave the rifle stock that it comes with the fact of MCX, and you can run everything left-handed. So if I was left-handed, I would not be running that. I just like to have one-hand manipulation on all my controls. It's a personal preference. Some people do like it, some people don't. And now here's the cool thing about the MCX. You have steel inserts to actually extend the life of the rifle, of your receiver. You have a cutout here. This is for the cam pin channel. So when your rifle rotates, or your bolt rotates, your cam pin can wear down, supposedly wear down this part. However, I feel like after all the AR-15s out there, that's honestly a marketing ploy. I don't think anyone's ever worn out their upper receiver for an AR-15. But if you want to replace it, you can. But the real cool thing is, if you do have your receiver, even your M4 feed ramps are actual user serviceable. So if somehow you were having feeding issues, you could possibly replace this and run the gun, replace it, and possibly have reliability issues. Even your forward assist is replaceable just by a couple of Torx screws. So honestly, it's a pretty easy system. As you can see here, the barrel is easily swappable between calibers. So you can go from 5.56, 223 to 300 blackout in a matter of just a couple minutes. If you do tighten, if you do get a conversion kit or whatever, make sure you follow these two numbers. There's a 1 and a 2 here. It's basically to say tighten down this bolt first, then this one. You want to go down to 60 square inches of pressure per bolt, and that's from SIG's manufacturer. SIG's recommended. The other thing, a couple other things I did here is I swapped out the standard handguard for a Magpul K2 Plus because I like the rubberized feel, and then I'm running a SIG Tac 100 aluminum. I bought this because it was like for 20 bucks. It was on sale. I do plan to swap this out to a Streamlight ProTac HLX 1000 with pressure switch. Now to put everything back together, slide your handguard, max out the rails on the receiver. Pop your front pin in place. charging handle. And the thing with the charging handle, they did change it from the original. They actually now put a seal back here, so if when you run this gun suppressed, you won't get as much gas back in your face. This gun was actually designed to be run suppressed. Put our bolt carrier back in. Bolt. There we go. Close her up. Now, as I was talking about, right here's this little wedge piece. That's what makes the movement of the MCX between the two receivers near impossible to move. I mean, there is no play in the receiver at all. But this is my newest rifle. Let me know what you guys think. You know, if you'd like to see, like, comment, subscribe. You know, if there's anything you think I can do for future reviews, please let me know. But yeah, this is the SIG MCX Virtus. I have not had a single malfunction with this rifle. I've put over 500 rounds through it, and it's been solid. Check to you later.